In a few moments, I will address the House in front of all Canadians, in front of Jewish people here and around the world, and Ukrainians, to offer Parliament's unreserved apologies for what happened on Friday. The Speaker was solely responsible for the invitation and recognition of this man, and has wholly accepted that responsibility and stepped down. This was a mistake that has deeply embarrassed Parliament and Canada. All of us who were in this House on Friday regret deeply having stood and clapped, even though we did so unaware of the context. It was a horrendous violation of the memory of the millions of people who died in the Holocaust, and it was deeply, deeply painful for Jewish people. It also hurt Polish people, Roma people, 2S LGBTQI+ people, disabled people, racialized people, and the many millions who were targeted by the Nazi genocide. Every year, there are fewer and fewer Holocaust survivors to share firsthand the horrors of what they experienced, and it is therefore incumbent upon us all to ensure that no one ever forgets what happened. I also want to reiterate how deeply sorry Canada is for the situation this put President Zelenskyy and the Ukrainian delegation in. It is extremely troubling to think that this egregious error is being politicized by Russia and its supporters to provide false propaganda about what Ukraine is fighting for. Friday's joint session was about what Canada stands for, about our steadfast support of Ukraine's fight against Putin's brutality, lies, and violence. It was a moment to celebrate and acknowledge the sacrifices of Ukrainians as they fight for their democracy, their freedom, their language and culture, and for peace. This is the side Canada was on in World War II, and this is the side we are on today. In a
few moments, I will speak in the House of Commons to all Canadians, to Jews across the world, in order to present Parliament's sincere apology for what occurred on Friday. The Speaker of the House was the solely responsible for what happened and for the homage paid to that individual. He has accepted responsibility for that and has resigned from his position. This was a mistake that put Parliament and Canada in a very difficult situation, and we deeply regret having stood and clapped for this individual, even though we were unaware of the context. This mistake is a horrible violation of the memory of millions of people who perished during the Holocaust, and it was deeply painful for Jews. It was also deeply painful to Poles, racialized persons, Roma, disabled persons, and millions of other people who were targeted by the Nazi regime. Every year, there are fewer and fewer Holocaust survivors to share the horrors that they experienced. It is therefore incumbent on us all to ensure that no one ever forgets what occurred. I also want to say how deeply sorry Canada is about the situation President Zelenskyy was put in, as well as the Ukrainian delegation. This is extremely troubling to think that this egregious mistake could be politicized by Russia in order to distribute false propaganda with respect to the reasons why Ukraine is defending itself. The joint session on Friday illustrated what Canada stands for, and we were there to show our steadfast support for Ukraine in its fight against the lies, brutality, and violence of Putin. It was a moment that allowed us to celebrate the sacrifices made by Ukrainians who are fighting for their democracy, their freedom, their language, their culture, and for for peace. Those are the values that Canada defended during World War II, and those are the values we will continue to defend today. Thank you.